Hey guys, Triple here, and in today's video, we're actually going to be talking about a little bit something that's related to the OFL draft, and this is something that has pretty much has gotten to me, and as and the reason why I'm sharing today's video is mainly going ahead and explaining the fact that, well, how how red the situation is. Like, you guys don't know this, and some of you guys do. I went ahead and I basically went ahead and I am alumni in OCFA for the University of Daytona. And during my time as now pretty much now that I am pretty much a Victory Bowl champion with the Thunderbirds, there's been two questions that I'm gonna go ahead and answer. So but we're only gonna make this a different series, and this is gonna be since season 26. That's the only draft sheets that I have, and that. So before we go ahead and before we go ahead and jump into this big debate, please go ahead and sack that like button for the YouTube algorithm, cause to go ahead and push this out to other people, so they can know basically some of the big issues. What's up? So either way, let's just get on to the video. So, whoops. Either way, with that basically now being said, and the alarm going ahead and going off. I went ahead and I basically had looked into basically the whole thing, and this is what I've been able to go ahead and figure this out. So let's start off with the first things first: the season 26 OFL draft. And the first thing we have to go ahead and mention is that the first was that in season 26, the Houston Toros went ahead and used the 15th pick to select the linebacker. Once again, this is going to be all Daytona related, so once again, they went ahead and they drafted a linebacker named Gulag D. Curses. And I went ahead and I checked, and he's pretty much is very well active on Roblox today, but the problem was that was just only the one thing. That was just the peak of his career. Like, ever since then, he's not really much active in the OFL anymore. So after that, he hasn't really went ahead and done much. So it's safe to say he's for sure a draft bust. And with that now being said, let's go on to the second round, where another man was picked up. This next man going ahead, and the Josh and Jackrabbits going ahead and selecting Zor 3, aka Mr. Top Hat Hades. And Hades, believe it or not, after his rookie season, he went ahead and became the head coach of the Jackrabbits, and that tenure was just really meaningful. First season, they actually played in the Dumpster Bowl, and the second season, it got back to the point that he went ahead and he had to sign Mac ATL to queue the rest of the season out. And after that, they didn't retain his rights as a head coach, so So he isn't really a head coach anymore. But from what I do understand, he is active. But it's just been off and on. See the way, even though despite the fact that, well, wait, what the heck? Okay. Now, despite that fact, he went ahead and he actually. But even though despite the fact that he basically only lasted 3 seasons in Joston, he still was serviceable. So I'd say to say that he's just the meh pick. But hey, it could be a lot worse though. The next person, now the final person from the season 23 draft that have to go ahead and mention was the third round, where the Penalty Punishers went ahead and they took James Woodland, aka James KK. It does sound like a weird name, but he's a name, alright. Well, he's basically is still very active in the OFL. Matter of fact, just recently he got dubbed the head coach of the Anaheim Howls. So he basically head coaches for Curie Cali's OCFA team. But to be fair, the third round usually has death in it. So it's very rare that someone really starts in it. But he's still in the OFL. I think it's safe to say that he's pretty much the hit. So congrats, my friend. Congrats. Anyway, moving on from season 26, let's go on to season 27. Where the first pick of the draft went ahead and was used. Well, not the first pick in the draft that was used. It was basically the first Daytona pick that was used went ahead and was used to select Cutry. And Cutry basically, well, that he went ahead and was drafted to the Corwalk Snailhawks with the 11th overall pick. And he hasn't really gone ahead and really just been chill. Poor guy, though. But yeah, he basically is in the OFL as a signed player. But outside that, he hasn't really just been active. Plus, the Snowhawks went ahead, and they also went ahead and they are under a different head coach now. Plus, his only activity, I think, is an ACC, even though he's not really that active. So I think it's safe to say that he is pretty much a bust as well. It's just sad. Now in the second round, a pick with the Danville Ducks went ahead on the clock, and V. Tyler, the head coach at the time, or I think no, it wasn't that. It was Chugga. Chugga went ahead and he made a pick to select Cute Jeans X. And I'm not sure whether but anyway, they basically have, or I should say more of she's went ahead and she, hasn't really cracked OFL starting OFL OFL stuff, but she is active. I can't say from last time I checked, but either way, she's not really that active that much in the OFL. So it's safe to say that, well, she's pretty much a freaking bust. And mind you, this is just, it's kind of sad. So, in the third round of that draft, no pick was basically used, so only 2 people went ahead and went to, actually did go places, but, so either way, let's go on to season 28. And season 28 is going to be very important. Either way, there was, but I'm just going to say straight up, after the season 27 draft, with basically no players came out. There was no players coming out of the third round that came out of the third round. In the first round of that draft, there was no Daytona players selected. Like, zero. Like, nothing happened. But there was a pick that was selected to take a Daytona player, but it would be later on. Second round, once again, no luck. So, as Daytona was basically at its worst seasons, but the Raiders in the third round went ahead and used this spot to go and select DJ Amur, who basically was a tight end. And for me, I haven't really talked to DJ that much, but I do know very well. He's been active, just with different. But he's been very, hasn't really been active in OFL. He's been very active on Roblox, and more specifically, especially Roblox football. And well, yeah. Also with the NHSFA, and really, but aside from that, he hasn't really has cracked the starting roster. But then again, this is entering his second season, so we can't write him off officially as a bust. But anyway, on to the next pick. With the 89th selection in the third round, the Thunder Reserves went ahead and selected Brown DC, a defensive end coming out of Daytona. And yes, I'm talking about myself here. So I had to go ahead and basically include myself in this one, as I was selected 89th overall. And it's also safe to say, but for me, I've been active in the OFL. Plus, I'm entering my second season, and I'm also a third round pick, so we can't really go ahead and really predict anything on me yet. So, but for right now, I'm just gonna say, for right now, on my own behalf, if you were to do something, Mertz kind of could be considered a bust. I think I'm considered a meh. I mean, for me, I'm active, but just no one really looks for that starter in me yet. And meanwhile, season 29, well, there hasn't really just been much picks. I mean, the Raptors went ahead and selected McConaughey, And McConaughey, well, it's been a mixed thing for him. But I think, but it's also safe to say he's still in the Raptors Discord. But once again, he also entered the situation that, well, he's going to a winning squad, so I'll go ahead and I'll give him that. So that's basically good. And of course, another pick also notable in in the draft from that season was going ahead and also was taking your mom's favorite wide receiver. And this is basically a homie of mine from basically BAFL. So once again, and he's also basically went ahead and he also started for Daytona. So went ahead. So it's basically the boy Ash, your mom's favorite wide receiver, aka sorry, with the Roblox again. I think it's also I bring forth a lot. So yeah, aka Mr. Heart Sanity. Yeah. So yeah, confirmation. So the boy Heart Sanity, he's on the Firecats. And he could actually very well be a starting wide receiver for for FFC, but I don't know how that's going right now with Asuni Yuki. Since I know Parker's a rookie head coach, and personally, I honestly he did get his wide receivers, but I don't know. Aside from that, that's really been it from a draft perspective. There hasn't really just been that much successful people coming out of Daytona, but there has been some people that have actually did break the ground. So I'll go ahead and give myself that. Plus, I was also selected as a member. I was also a Daytona member. I'm probably like, I think Hades, Art Sanity, and I were like probably the more successful people. But then again, we don't know. It's too early to tell. Plus, Daytona albums once again, it's really just a bit difficult to predict. Plus, I also do want to wonder though, has there really been a Daytona? I also want to go ahead and figure out who was the first. Like, I'm just gonna ask them. The only questions I have after this is that who was the first Daytona rookie, first Daytona person to go ahead and win a victory bowl, like a player. Like, if it's me, then shoot, but it's not really a great bragging right though. So let me know in chat if you are watching from the OCFA. You do keep track of some OFL and OCFA history about it. Aside from that, this is Brown DC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to go ahead and follow me on my socials, link down below in the description. And aside from that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all next time. Saddle up, saddle out, peace out. Let's go.